Today I have some Thai food. This is a mint leaf chicken. It's like minced chicken with an egg and rice. And this one is an appetizer. It's a freaking chicken saute. I want to start here, to be honest. I'm freaking starving. I love this peanut sauce. I'm a messy eater, by the way. It's like 7:30 p.m. and I haven't eaten since like 4 a.m. yesterday. Or this morning, I'm supposed to say, sorry. See, today I want to talk about something that you already know about, to be honest. It's YOLO. You only live once, and the value of this life. I want to start off from childhood. What I remember was just being so adventurous, open to everything, literally wanting to try and do everything. You didn't worry about danger. You didn't worry about failure. In fact, you didn't even think twice. The thing about this beautiful mindset is I wish that I could get back to that now as a 32-year-old. What was crazy about this period was that for some reason you thought that time was going to last forever. You thought you were going to live forever. You thought you had all the time in the world. And I'm trying to figure out when I lost that mindset, to be honest. I think it was in middle school. More to that later. Some egg. Whoa. Some egg. I was in middle school when I thought I knew everything, when you started to think on your own. I shifted from having all the time in the world to thinking life was bullshit. It was all a lie. Really hated life at that time. I was actually willing to lose my life even. Okay, maybe around 7th or 8th grade. Hating life, thinking that it was meaningless and not giving a shit. Man, that mindset lasted in me like 6 to 8 years. A very long time. Very long time. Even as of last month, I still had parts of that in me. But what the shift is now is finally, I've said this before, but never really felt it. And which is, I'm willing to live life to the fullest. It's one of those things that is so easy to say, but it's so hard to actually follow and to live by. I learned this from someone else. I'm not claiming this knowledge, but holding on to a sense of identity, like your old self. As a 32-year-old, I still see myself in a dark way. And it stems all the way back from high school. It's about being a loser and a failure. No one really giving a shit about you. It's crazy. That's like 14 years. And I've been holding on to this identity. And that's one of the things that holds me back from moving forward or living life to the fullest. At the time, I had explained to other people that what it was wasn't so much negative or holding myself down. What it was trying to be humble. I never wanted to be conceited, and I never wanted to say that I was better than anybody else. So I always thought that keeping my, how do you say, the way that I saw myself, it was always better to keep myself on the lower end than the higher one. And I convinced myself that being on the lower end meant that, you're always going up, you're always looking up. But if you're already at the top and you think you're better than everyone else, or you think you accomplished everything you needed to, right? One exercise that I like is to look at senior citizens. It sounds mean, but if you look and you wonder if they're at the end of their journey, like how much potential do they have left? Like what else can they do on an old age? And you look at yourself now. So what it does for me is it makes me reflect on all these excuses I have not to live life to the fullest or not to reach my full potential in the present moment when I'm at my prime, apparently, physically, mentally, and so on and so forth. But for some reason, I still get caught up in a comfort zone and have all these fears. But I like to put myself in the shoes of being, let's say, 70 or 80 years old when I have no more opportunities left. And it's just like, damn, all the stuff that I am saying to myself today, would I even give a shit? 40, 50 years later, I would be so mad at myself as of today. Like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you try this? And I'll tell you what my fear is specifically. I had goals, model, musician, actor. And if you look at me right now, maybe like a social media influencer, that's 4 things. Potentially a writer. I've got ideas flowing in my head for my fucking future. And they actually, they sound like pretty cool ideas, right? But guess what? I'll tell you what my reality is. I'm going to go to my full-time job. I'm going to come home. And I'm going to go to sleep. Not exactly going to work on all these badass ideas. I think it'd be cooler than working like a straightforward job, right? Eating this stuff, getting paid for it. Here's a quick challenge for you. And I heard this from like one of those motivational videos. What would you do if you had the perfect version of yourself, the person that is successful, whatever your career choice was, however much money you wanted to make, like this perfect version of yourself where everything clicked? If that person were to meet the person you are today, like what would they say to that person? And I'll tell you what, if it was me talking to myself, I'll be like, dude, well, what makes you so happy in this comfort zone, living at your parents' house? Like, that's really, if you could only see the future, like succeeding at being a musician or succeeding at being an actor or a social media influencer, potentially having my own house, all kinds of crazy stuff, having more fun, not worrying about money. It's like, dude, that life, would be so much better than right now. And it's not, honestly, it's not even bad right now. I'm just saying, like, so much more that could go on. And if only I could just see it. Right now, one of the things that I wish, I mean, it's never going to happen, but if I just knew that some of these things that I'm working on would succeed, if I had like a guarantee, I promise it'd make things a lot easier. I'm freaking hungry right now. Let's cover regret real quick. 32. You know, when I was like 19, 20, even up to 24, I remember like passing up opportunities, saying no to things. It's funny because whether I thought it was against my beliefs or whatever, like, I have this rule. It's called 10 years later. And basically 10 years later, I don't give a shit. Like, looking back on all these things, I'm like, damn, it would have been cool to try this. It would have been cool to say yes to this. In fact, it would have been cool if I said yes to everything. Because all it is just living life, learning a lesson, you know? So I'm trying to apply that right now. Kind of be more of like a yes man, because it's cool to say no and pass up on stuff 1, 2, 3 times. What happens when you do that for like 10 years or more? Imagine how much life you could have lived. And here's the joke and the serious part, which is you can't get that time back. That is no laughing matter at all. Not at all, you know? And it's embarrassing because, you know, most of the times that I've passed stuff up, it's because I was simply tired or my mood wasn't perfect. Like things had to line up for some reason. I'm just like, what, really? Right now, as I'm in this live life to the fullest mode, I mean, even sleep kind of seems like a waste of life at times. What can I say? And again, it's not on a daily basis in small measurements. Sorry about that. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but put that over the course of your life and it stacks up for years. Like, man, just ask yourself how much time you've spent like not living when you could have. Ridiculous. Well, for me anyway, sorry. I'm not trying to pin that on you guys. Here's a funny ass thought. You know, before I've cut my wrist before, made like poor life decisions, spent years putting myself down mentally, talking all this shit, right? And the joke is, what's so funny is it's easier to put myself down than to give myself compliments. It's easier to just harm myself than help myself. I was going to make a quote for my page, my Instagram page, and it was going to say something like, success scares me more than failure. What I mean, it sounds twisted, but I mean, for those of you that would keep it real, I'm sure that some of you can relate to that. Isn't that so crazy? So crazy. I mean, if you're not feeling that way, props to you. It's something I seem to struggle with. Well, actually, okay, I lied. Not so much now. But in the past, that was a big deal. Another factor is other people, what other people think, and then, sorry about that, living for others. That was a lot of time spent on my life that maybe sometimes it wasn't the best way to spend my time. So I don't know. I don't know where to draw the line sometimes to where I can place my time, my emotions, and finance everything, every little piece onto someone else. You could say that there was a period in my life where I was living for others in the sense that I cared about what they thought. I did what they asked me to do. And at the time, I justified it like, dude, I just want to be, I want an easygoing life. I mean, I don't like conflict. I don't like arguing and so on and so forth. So if I have to please someone else just to keep the peace, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't know. A long story short, you owe it to yourself to live the fullest life and to reach your full potential. And I won't lie, being in a comfort zone feels so fucking good. Especially for me, it was being in serious relationships. Simple life. Having someone that loved me, having some adventures, and that's it. That's it. And for most, I mean, for some people, I'm sure that that's enough in life. But for me, having been born with these certain potentials to do these certain things, actor, musician, social media influencer, all I know is that it would be a crime to put my potential to waste. And whether or not I try it in the future, I think I owe it to myself to at least try. There's nothing wrong, I'm sure, with going to work, going to sleep, keeping it cool. That's it. But to know when you know that there's potential for more and you're only going to get one chance to do it, it makes everything different.